We will get ready now for the 5 red lights on here in Australia as Cookie will lead the field away as Cookie down into turn 1 gets a good start as Hemi unable to get ahead as Rio side by side with Seth. Is there any carnage in the back? I think we've all survived relatively as Mallard appears to have gone down as someone is absolutely flying on top of another car. Not quite sure what's happened there as Gordon getting ahead of Seth here, and Seth around the Irishman down the order as he has had a spin as Thory up to P10, but Seth around, so is Mallard as Seth trying to recover as there seemed to be a crunch of the wall, and that's Franz Herman around. Franz Herman around in the middle sector, and he's facing the wrong way. And not the ideal start for Franz there. As Berlin now side by side, he goes with Womax, and Nicky is well involved as MS Apple trying to get involved here. We're side by side. So many cars here. We're almost 5 abreast as Berlin leaves the track. Oh, big crunch and contact with MS Apple. And I don't know how MS Apple's avoided damage. I think Nicky's got damage as Thory now battling with Ty Clear up to P7. But an insane start it's been. Seth's recovered to P12 as he battles side by side with MS Apple as they go side by side through this final sector, and Seth keeps it ahead of Apple here as Nicky on the rear of Ollie up to P10 now. Brilliant start for Ollie as Cookie sets the fastest lap in the Mercedes. Oh, TJ around at the final corner, and TJ down the order there as he looks to rejoin the racing line as Seth now on the rear of Nicky as Hemi Dimes now still has DRS from Cookie as Seth going to get through, but Apple on the inside of Seth as well. Could be a beautiful move here, and Apple side by side he goes with 7. A beautiful move through the middle chicane there from AMS Apple as Liam gets out of Thory. Womax ahead of Nicky as well. Nicky struggling with that damage as he tries to keep it around the outside of the Cyber driver. Bit of contact, wheel banging. We go, but lovely driving from all the drivers out there, able to keep it clean as he's on the rear of Thory now and may look for a move down into turn 3. Late send from the V-Carb as he gets it turned in. And a lovely move from Apple there. Does he have that rear wing open? Is Hemi now gonna take the lead of the race potentially on his home Grand Prix as he goes round the outside of Cookie before the chicane, and the Ferrari driver takes the lead of the race on home soil. This is a prideful moment for Hemi Dimes, and what a strong season Hemi Dimes could have here as Lewis gets ahead of Stephen Beecham. A large amount of traffic here in the midfield as Stephen defending from Ollie round the outside of Stephen Beecham, and a lovely move if the McLaren can make it stick, and he does. An Apple trying to poke his nose through as he goes round the outside of Stephen, but unable to find a way through. You know, it's Thory for company, side by side they go, and Thory big contact and loses the rear, and Thory down the order, and heartbreak for Thory there. Competitive here at the start, moves being made everywhere as Liam now on the inside of Ty Clear. There's so many moves happening per lap. It's difficult to keep an eye on as losing the rear was Liam there as Ty gets through on the Haas driver as another switchback from Liam on the cards here. If he can try and work his way through as Ollie watching this battle, big spin and contact, and they're both around at the final corner as Stephen Beecham coming into the pit lane, but big contact there between Liam and Ty Clear. I think Liam lost the rear and tagged the rear of Ty Clear there. Some dirty air for Gordon. Is Ty going to allow his teammate through here? It looks like not too much of a fight put up as Cookie goes for the undercut and Hemi Dimes. Hemi Dimes going to stay out here. All these battles is Cookie going to try and cut his way through. Already on the outside of his teammate last season, Kevin Kell. They won the Constructors' Championship together, but now there's no teammate play together. There's now Cookie on the outside of Seth, makes short work of the Williams driver, and Cookie now into P5. Hemi is a good margin behind, but now has a lap as Hemi cuts the inside there. Gordon now round the outside of Hemi, and Gordon on the 2-lap older tyres gets ahead of Hemi Dimes. And could this hurt Hemi on his run as Cookie's got fresher tyres than Gordon and can help him build a gap here? Meanwhile, Hemi almost 4 seconds back. Cookie here, meanwhile Cookie on the outside of Hitman. Cookie in to P3 as he crunches the wall. Hitman picks up a time penalty. Hemi Dimes now on the outside of Gordon, gets through into turn 9, and Hemi now going to head down the road after Cookie. As Seth now on the outside of TJ. TJ done 12 laps on those hard tyres as Womack's battling with Kevin Callis. Stephen Beecham goes deep there. And has that allowed Womack's through both of them? It has! Womack's a triple move as he gets round the outside of TJ. Beautiful move there. Stephen loses out to Kevin Callis as well. And Stephen on this two-stop really struggling here. Get too close to the rear of the Alpine. As the Alpine's still yet to box here. TJ picks up a time penalty as a big slide from Hitman allows Hemi Dimes round the outside. Is Gordon going to try and follow him through here? DRS enabled for Hemi Dimes. Is Gordon going to pick the outside of Hitman? And surely the Aston Martin's going to get this move done as they go side by side into the chicane. But Gordon breaks later and gets through with how they use their battery. But Cookie now makes a big mistake as TJ retires in the pit lane. And Cookie now with DRS going to surely blow by AMS Apple now with DRS as well. Apple going to try and defend the inside as Cookie going to pick round the outside. And a comfortable move. Surely you'd think it's going to be a comfortable move for the Williams driver. And the Irishman into P9 now. And Thor even going to look to follow through. And a lovely move there from the McLaren as he caught Mallard unawares as Thor now into P10. Former teammate from last season, as Rio Harris going side by side with Franz Hermann, and Rio, and Franz off in the wall, and Franz, big contact into the wall from Franz Hermann, as Hemi Dimes now has AMS Apple on the inside of the chicane, side by side they go, and Hemi picks up a 3-second time penalty. Has he potentially thrown away P2 here with that move? And Franz now down in a turn 1, breaks. And side by side with the Red Bull, almost forcing him off track. And Mallard now surely not happy with that move as Franz just absolutely dive bombing Mallard and didn't leave the Red Bull driver a whole lot of room on those fresh mediums. I don't think Gordon made the right call by doing the two-stop at Apple now into P3 in the podium. Apple starting way down the order, didn't have the ideal qualifying. He was either P15 or 16, I believe, in qualifying, and now up to P3. What a race it has been as Mallard gets ahead of Nicky, and Nicky had to do a much longer strategy plus the damage he had early on. Nicky down to P15. The latter points as Zampa says TV. I don't know why it says TV, but either way, Nicky round the outside of Mallard, and Nicky having a decent race on debut of Apple as he is. Mallard, Franz Hermann involved, Oh, big contact there. Franz Hermann involved along with Nicky, and more damage for the Alpine driver. And things have just gone from bad to worse for Nicky here. Franz Hermann going through what seemed to be no gap at all in that 3-wide moment. And Franz now up into P14. Big damage as Nicky on the inside of the Alpine. A big contact there. And Nicky around and surely out of the points now is Nicky. As Stephen Beecham going to get ahead of the Alpine driver. We've got Cookie rounding the final corner, and Cookie up to the line, wins the season opener in Australia here in Tier 1. Meanwhile, Hemi Dimes in his home Grand Prix finishes P2 for Ferrari, a massively strong race for the Ferrari driver. Meanwhile, AMS Apple on debut gets a podium here. Ahead of Gordon. Next it's Rio Harris, although Rio may drop down the order potentially with all the penalties with all his penalties, but I think Hitman actually may be too far behind. We'll have to wait and see. As yeah, that is right. Will Seth jump anyone here as well? Seth up to the line, gets ahead of Hitman, and Ollie now next across the line gets ahead of Hitman as well, as Hitman has left the session and it's destroyed his delta.